Right. Remember what we said about the context. We cannot have a content, mathematical content, without having a context. Because what we deal with in mathematical literacy is the real life situations. Learners have to understand what is going on around them. So let us refer to the Shosholoza Mail train timetable below in order to answer the questions asked. Shosholoza Mail, most of us know it. Most of us who are used to stations, where we have stations around us, we know what we talk about when we talk about the Shosholoza Mail. So to us, this one can be regarded as a familiar context. But like I said before, it will not be for all of us. But we need to explore our learners to different context, which is familiar and unfamiliar. So let's check the timetable. There it is. In mathematical literacy, before you can do anything, remember that we deal mainly with language here. So we need to understand thoroughly what is going on before you can do anything. We have to interpret whatever we have in order to understand what we are talking about. Let's look at this timetable. The timetable, it says it is mainly for what? For tourists. So this is a timetable for 2014. For tourists, it's a schedule, it's a timetable. What is the route? The second row. What will be the route? The route, it will be from Johannesburg to Cape Town and back to Johannesburg. In other words, this timetable that we are concentrating on, it has a return schedule. When you have to use this timetable, you have to be sure that you are buying a return ticket, not a single ticket. We have two kinds of tickets. A single one, it means you'll only go to Cape Town, and then you'll see to finish when you are Cape Town to buy a new ticket to come back. But this one has included everything. You go and then you come back using the same ticket. So this timetable means that. Let's look at the third row. We need to interpret this in order to understand thoroughly before we can answer the questions. The train journey, it is estimated that it will take 26 hours. Why do I say it is estimated? Here's the 26 hours that I'm talking about. Why do I say estimated? When we talk about time, we usually say we estimate it, even if we can do the calculations. But estimation is very important because we don't know what will happen along the way. But if nothing went wrong, if everything was smooth, then from Johannesburg to Cape Town, it will take a train 26 hours. Then when you come to the frequency, it's how many times does the train leave per week? Or, yes, it's 4 times per week. It's how many times the frequency. Then the fare. The fare is 620 per adult. We will go down and understand further about this fare, but it's there. It's 620 per adult. In other words, we are talking about one person here. So the peak season is not applicable. So this one also needs to be thoroughly explained. What do we mean by a peak season? It's those times when it is very busy during the school holidays. It's one of the examples of the peak seasons. When we go to the 4th row, our schedule shows us that from Johannesburg to Cape Town, This is the column for our times from Johannesburg to Cape Town. And this one on the right-hand side is from Cape Town to Johannesburg. This row mainly tells us about the train station. When is the train going to arrive? When is it going to depart in Johannesburg? The same with Cape Town. Now we'll concentrate on the times when we deal with our activities. But an important factor here, when does the train depart in Johannesburg? The first departure time is this one, which is 12:30. But when we look at Cape Town, the departure is 10 o'clock in the morning. Good. So it's different stations where the train will be leaving. The last 3 rows, on this one, we talk about the months. Actually, the fares in connection with the months. When we talk about the fares, we talk about the fees that has to be paid. So for March, already, no bookings will be allowed. Remember we said we're talking about real life situation, eh? So our content or our context has to be authentic and realistic. So if you go to the internet or you go to any station, this is the timetable that you'll get at the present moment. This was not fabricated, it's the real thing. So it is said that for March, it is fully booked. But for April, you can still pay that 620 per adult, and for May, for June. For July, it's not open yet. So in other words, no bookings are being taken for July as we speak. Why? We have our reasons. Look at all those fine prints. Fares are adult one way. And kids 3 to 9 years, they pay half price of the fare. Can you see how many information is there? How much information do we have here? And then it says timetables are subject to change without notification. So you can still have this timetable, but sometimes when you arrive at the station, it will have changed. So how are fares quoted? These are the notes on the timetable or on the schedule of the train. How are fares quoted? Fares are quoted per adult, single fare, one-way journey. In other words, that 620, it's only for going to Cape Town, not return, but the schedule is for return. Senior citizens' fares are quoted approximately 25% of the adult fare, subject to peak season travel periods. The age, 60 years and above. And it is only applicable to South African citizens with South African IDs on tourist class only. How far in advance? Remember I said for July, no bookings are accepted. Why? Because of this condition. Tourist class train can only be booked 3 months, which is 90 days in advance. See month and first column on the timetable. How much luggage? You are also restricted on how much luggage you are supposed to carry during your excursion. Right. Let's go to our questions.